to the High Vibe Show, living the high vibe life with me, your host, Elisa V, and together with my guests, experts in the art of living in a state of high vibration, we have got an amazing show for you today. My passion is to educate and inspire you to raise your frequency to a high vibrational state. Whether you're an awakened soul to the power of your own consciousness as a light being, or you're new to this spiritual path of expansion and growth, which is made possible through vibrating at a high level, you are in the right place. So stay here to experience fun, frequency upgrades now, so you can manifest all you want and help to raise the collective vibration of our wonderful world. Let's hit the restart button and high vibe it together. The High Vibe Show starts now. Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Here we are at the High Vibe Show, and this is the place where we try to bring you lots of inspiring information, great guests to help you get yourself into those energies of love, abundance, and gratitude. So have you noticed that today, more than ever, people all over the world are realizing the tremendous benefits of working with coaches? And it wasn't too long ago that we associated coaches with sports and physical activity, but clearly things are very different today. Having a coach, someone to help guide us and assist us with staying on course towards our goals, is beneficial for us to reach any of our goals and achieve what it is that we want in life. So a caring coach celebrates the wins and is there to be an accountability partner when we hit challenges. Today, I am very happy to welcome Cristal Baez, who is better known as Comadre Cristal. Welcome.
Thank you, Elise. Thank you so much for a beautiful introduction. Thank you. I'm honored and blessed to be here today.
Yes, as am I. And I don't know if you're aware, but I have like a signature question that I like to always kick off the show with, because I feel like it brings our listeners into the world of where we're going to go on the show and to better understand who you are. So what I'd love to know is, what is it about what you do as a spiritual coach that keeps you in a state of high vibration and inspires your commitment to continue doing what you do?
Oh, I love that question. Such a beautiful, profound question. So, what is it that I do? I hand it over. I surrender. For me, spirituality has really been a very strong foundation of keeping myself balanced, keeping my serenity, keeping my peace, all within myself. And so it really is tapping into my intuition, tapping into a higher power, and just really leaning on that, especially on the days where my vibration is low, especially on the days where it's really hard, because it's life. Life is going to throw curveballs at us, and having God, spirit, source right there with me, it just keeps me motivated and keeps me going, and it keeps me being authentic to myself, because I am a recovering people pleaser. So I can easily go down that path of taking care and loving others before my own self. So that's what keeps me in high vibration for sure.
That's beautiful. So anyway, I know we had when we were speaking off screen, in the past, we both kind of had a lot in common. And one of the things that we had in common was just, which I think is more common than we realize, especially with us coaches. We sometimes will face some kind of adversity or something that just becomes so touching within us, that just explodes out, like who we are, brings out our authentic self. And then from that, we really want to become healers to other people, to teach them and to save them, from maybe having some of the hardships we had, and let them move more quickly and purposefully towards whatever it is that brings them to their authentic self, right? And manifesting. So I would love for you to tell everybody a little bit about what a spiritual coach actually does, and what you do in the vein of spirituality.
Yeah, I thank you. Thank you for such a great question. And you're right. It when we are able to transmute our pain and suffering and bringing it out into love and teaching others, absolutely is what I've done. And that was through the use of spiritual love, spiritual source, spiritual belief. I grew up Catholic, and so I didn't have growing up, I didn't have a very deep connection with God, and and it wasn't until much later in my life. I always believed in a God. I just it just was really hard to understand when bad things happen. How can God allow these bad things to happen? So that was my mentality.
I
I
think a
just
lot
didn't
of
I
people struggle with that question too,
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So it's very common. And so as my life has happened, because I've my life has been filled with one thing after another. But it's exactly what you mentioned earlier. It's like that one big, I like to call them rock bottoms. It was that big rock bottom that happened. And this is why I love that you and I connected, because I got a divorce. That was that was like the point where I was thinking to myself, what is happening? And that was when I just dove into spirituality, dove into finding what it was to believe in a higher power than myself. Because at that point, I was lost, I was broken, I was depressed, I was a single mom, and I couldn't do it alone. And so just that really tapping into my intuition and my spiritual being part of me really helped. And so that's when I started to really see, wait, I could do this for other people. I can be there for other people in the same way that I was also there for myself, and how other people came into my life and gave me and guided me through this journey. So to answer your question of a spiritual life coach or a spiritual coach, really what I focus on is helping you find your intuition, helping you find your higher self, helping you find that connection with your higher power. Because I think that was another thing that really helped me on my journey, was that I got to define my own higher power. It didn't my God didn't have to look or see or feel like the God that other people described. I got to make it my own. And so I just really found peace and solitude in that. And so that's what continued to spread. I do use tarot cards as a form of divination, so I really bring in spirituality in that part. I don't need the tarot cards to channel messages. I've gotten to a place now where I'm so in tune with my intuition that I just know.
Mhm.
Where before it was like the cards were helping me as a tool, and so now that's what I really encourage. But again, everyone's on a different path, so it's I just encourage people to find their own way of communication with spirit. And it comes in all ways, all shapes, all sizes for sure.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like you said about the using your intuition, depending on who the client is and who you're working with, you're able to tell which particular modality or different tools, if you will, like the
Mhm,
tarot cards, and
mhm,
that will help to bring those messages or enable the person to understand more easily, like how to get in touch with more of what's inside them. It's interesting because like I know when I went through my divorce, I also like experienced a huge spiritual awakening. And I think adversity um, for many people brings out this, like you said, hitting bottom, and then you start to really go deeper because your outer world is in such chaos and such flux. And so the only place that which it's often sad that we have to wait for that point to sort of really embrace that, but that may just be part of the journey and how we have soul growth. That when you have that kind of adversity, you're able to find this strength or this message or this like deep connection, and And from that sort of dark night of the soul, where we just go so deep
Yes.
into ourselves and pull ourselves away from everything in our life, really, it's hard when you're going through that when you're a mom, obviously, because you have to be able to still be there and give and be on for your children. But it's like you come through this storm, and then on
Hmm.
the other side, it's so amazing how so many people just want to then they find themselves wanting to be healers and
Yes.
help others. So I think your story really will, resonate with a lot of people. So I want to, there's a couple of things I want to make sure we get to in this show. And the first one is you use the name comadre, and
Mhm.
that's part of your identity. And I know that not being from the Hispanic culture, right? I'm Italian American. That I was like, what does that mean? And what is that? So I think I thought it was so cool and so beautiful once you explained it. So I want you to explain why you choose to call yourself that and where that comes from.
Yeah, thank you. And I do. I love that I do call myself comadre, because it's coach. I know other people say, oh, call me coach this, coach that, and I'm like, I'm more than a coach. Like, and it's not that other coaches are not. Like, I just felt like for me, the way I bring in into my practice myself is by being a friend, by being that confidant, by being that listening ear, by loving on you regardless of your history, regardless of where you come from, regardless of your mistakes, regardless of whatever it is that we hold on to. Because what I've realized in my journey, we hold on to our shame, we hold on to our
Mhm.
guilt, we hold on to these ugly parts of us because we think no one's going to love these parts of us, no one's going to love us. And what I started to realize, the way the person I am, the human being that I am, it's at a core, at my core, I love deep, I love wide, I love big. And and that was a part of me that I didn't always own, because heartbreak, and when you start getting heartbroken, you start to feel like, oh my goodness, what why is this happening, or why do I love this way? And but the love that I always had was always with my friends. I think my friends had always been my very deep way to be. I was myself with them. I didn't have
Mhm.
responsibilities. I didn't owe them anything. Friends just love you for who you are. It's a little different from family, because I feel like with family, we don't get to, it's family is the family that we chose on a spiritual contract. Friends are the ones that we choose here. Like, those are the family we
Yeah.
choose.
Yeah. Consciously.
And
Yeah.
exactly. And so then I just started realizing that if anything, I was a really good friend. And I started realizing that that happened because one day my really good friend, who is my comadre, I baptized her
Can
daughter,
you
because
tell
that's what it.
everyone what that actually means
Yes,
in case
yes, yeah, go ahead. Thank you. And so that's what it is. So in the Spanish, in the Mexican culture, a comadre is someone who either sponsors you, or if it's in the Catholic sense, it is the woman who baptizes your child. Comadre is for a female, who identifies as a female. Compadre is someone who identifies as a male. And comextre is a terminology I created because there's not a lot of non-binary words in the Spanish language. But it's someone who baptizes your children in the Catholic Church.
Okay.
But there's comadres and compadres are also people who sponsor, and who just are there to support you, kind of like they vouch for you.
Okay.
And
Thank
and
you.
so my comadre, I had, because I have been doing tarot readings for, gosh, 8 years now. And my comadre came to me one day and was, crying, and I just did the reading for her, and I channeled all the beautiful messages. And at the end, she just felt this relief and said, wow, like, thank you. Like, you really are a really good comadre, and I don't know what I'd do without you. And I think that's when it dawned on me. I'm like, that's me. I am like, this is who I am, because it's who I've always been. And so I just really stepped into my power, and I owned it more than I can. I am a coach, but I really do consider myself more a comadre than I would a
Mhm.
coach. And so that's why I name myself Comadre Cristal instead of Coach Cristal.
I love it. That's great. So tell us a little bit. We have just would just be mindful of our time here, but I do want you to talk about your signature coaching program, Unlocking Your Inner Comadre, and just give a little bit of an overview of how you work with people.
Yeah, no, thank you. And so this it also kind of adds a little bit more into the question that you asked earlier about how am I living in the high vibration? And it's by using these tools because on my journey, what I realized I've been on this healing journey for a very long time. I started off with therapy, having a therapist when I was 18 years old, and I started, trying different things, support groups. I went to a 12-step recovery program. I went to other energy healers. I went to meditations. Like I was just trying so hard to. I felt like it was either sink or swim, and I was swimming so hard because I did not want to sink. um and it was until my divorce and I was left alone, and I thought to myself, okay, how am I gonna keep swimming in this, because I feel like I'm drowning. Like I literally felt like I was drowning. And and I just had this moment where God was like, you have the tools. You have been working on this for so long. Use them. Because that was my issue, that I was also the kind of person who felt that everyone else was the problem but me.
Mm.
you know everyone is the ones who's with the issues, not me. I'm perfect. That was my issue, that I truly thought that everyone else was the issue and not myself. And so then when I started going in deep and saying, okay, well, I need to go through the dark night of my soul and like really tap into those parts of me and see what it is, because maybe it is me. Maybe I need to fix something. And I did. I looked back at all my tools. I looked back at all the therapy I'd taken. I had learned. I looked at everything I had learned in the last 17 years of my life. And with the 10 years that I worked in the domestic violence, sexual assault, human trafficking field, I had learned a lot too, working with survivors and victims of this. And I put together these tools because I knew, like, okay, deepening in my spirituality, connecting with my intuition, connecting with those hurt parts of you, learning how to love and take care of yourself, setting boundaries, doing the hard work of why do we do the things we do? Why do we react the way we react? And then finding ways to live and maneuver through that, because that stuff isn't, my character defaults are not going to just go away. They don't just disappear. For example, I'm a very impatient person. And trust me, when you
I can
when you
relate
say
to
that
that.
when you say to spirit, okay, spirit, I'm ready to work on my patience,
Yeah,
you'll get tested.
yeah,
You will
yeah.
get tested. And it's working through that and how to work through that. And then all of that for me is what keeps me going, is why do I do this? If it's for me, but also for my children, like I want to help raise the vibration, because the moment I started seeing all of these tools working for me, my life, I transformed. My life completely transformed. A 180. And that is what kept me going, of like, this is what I want to do. I want to help others. And so that's really what happened with Unlocking Your Inner Madre. I just took all the tools that I had learned and I
Mhm.
put them into a tangible, actionable program that people can use. Like, and the beauty is that these tools are, at the end, my goal is to empower people. And these tools are, you make them your own. Take what you like and leave the rest. Because it works for me, it doesn't mean it has to work for you. It will help, but you get to make it your own. And I think that's the one thing that I really have enjoyed about the program.
Okay, so I think, a couple of things really hit me. Like, I think no matter what kind of coach you are, right, you hit it. It's really about empowering
Mm,
whoever you're working with. And, I always like to say when you empower people, you're also helping them more effectively deal with their and manage their stress, right? Because that
absolutely.
can really become very overwhelming. So, yeah, and I think that's sort of the thread that runs, through all coaches. And then like depending on where each of us has sort of had that real wound or needed to heal and then came out with an awakening of, like, for you, it was that connection with source and connecting with your higher self. And then that's something we want to bring to other people. For me, it was the divorce itself, the
Mhm.
process, and then wanting to help people, not only through divorce, but through any kind of life transition where we have these changes. So I think that for what's so important, I think for my listeners to understand is that there's so many coaches out there, and it's really what resonates for what part of you is longing to be expressed, or where are you going to find your most authentic self in this
Yes.
process, and then be able to really serve yourself the best way. And then when we do that, we're always able to help others and be in service
Mhm.
to them. So how do people get in touch with you? What's the best way to get in touch? And tell us a little bit about, what they can sign up with on your program, and if there's
Yes.
any free offers you have today.
Yes, for sure. So the best way is through my website. It's www.lincomadre, comdare.com. And really looking at the website, I offer different services. I have one-on-ones, I have group, I have my Unlocking Your Inner Comadre masterclass that's also in a group container. That right now I currently have a wait list for that, but I do have one-on-ones available. And so it just everyone's on a different path, and it really is about finding your own. I am focusing more on my YouTube channel, so really being able to see workshops. I bring in a lot of my own personal practice of what keeps me going onto my YouTube channel. So I use a lot of the moon phases as way of releasing and manifesting. So I have workshops on YouTube for that. And yeah, so the best thing too is on my website, I do have my Unlocking Your Inner Comadre workbook or journaling prompt for free, no strings attached. It's there for people to start looking at those tools. For many people, it can use as a framework. For others, it could just give you a different perspective to look at things differently and start seeing these as tools, because healing is ongoing. And I think that was one of my hard realities, was that when I was on in the middle of all of this, the pain and the hurt, I just kept thinking, when is it going to end? When is it going to get better? When? And then things would get better, but then life would happen again. Something else would trigger me. And then I'd be not in the same spot, but I'd go kind of back and then be like, what the heck happened? And then I realized, oh, wait, these are tools. And let me lean on my tools. Like, let me lean on my program that works because I'm worth it. And so that's really that what the journaling prompts are for, just to give you kind of an insight of what it is that you need to be focusing on and how can you use your tools on your daily practice, daily life.
Yeah. Okay, so that's wonderful. It sounds like that's also a good place for people to start to begin to figure out, like, where are they, and start to ground themselves a little. And you did mention your group program. So how do you do that? Do you do that like on a virtual basis,
Mhm.
using?
Yes. Yes. So the Unlocking Your Inner Comadre masterclass group, that is virtually. So for 10 weeks, you'll have access to all of the pre-recording workshops, uh, where you get to do the workshops at your own pace with the worksheets at your own pace. And then I am available for office hours, 2 to 3 times a week, just so you can drop in. I can answer any questions. If there's a blockage that you feel like I'm not getting this, we work through it, we work together. And then I also have my Comadreando group sessions, which are twice a month. And those are open for everyone, donation based. Because during my own healing journey, especially as a single mom, money was an issue. Money was something that was hard, and I knew I needed to work on myself, and yet I could not afford this expensive coach, or I couldn't afford this therapist. And so group therapy really was something that helped me. And so in order for me to give back, I also create my group therapy, my group sessions to be donation based. So, and those are also all everything's virtual on Zoom. I send you the Zoom link, and um, yeah, it's all virtual.
Wow, it sounds like you really took into consideration, like just from your what you went through to be able to, hit people at different levels of where they are, not
Mhm.
only spiritually, but even financially, so that they're not precluded from being able to take that teaching and learning and feeling that someone's there, like you said, like a
Mhm.
friend.
Exactly.
Well, I thank you so much. This was really so great. Your journey, and I wish we had more time because our listeners should know your story is just so incredible. What, just your background, where you were, the type of work you did, like you said, with helping people that were in the system and had gone through terrible experiences and abuse, and then of course coming out and then having your own experience with your own divorce and your
Mhm.
children. And I also want to mention that you are a foster mom, and
Yes.
another wonderful way that you're serving, and hopefully those children will eventually be your own, because I know you're trying to
Yes.
work on that path. So I want to thank everyone today for listening. I also want to recommend that if you're looking, you can go on my website, or you can email me at hitting the restart button at gmail.com for a free e-booklet, my 7-point blueprint for living a high vibe life. And I would love to check in with you again, Cristal, for, see how we're
Yes.
doing down the road and some more of your programs that you're offering. And again, thank you so much for being here today and for what
No,
you're
thank
doing.
you. Thank you so much for giving me the platform and the honor and privilege to be here with you today, Elisa.
Yeah, God bless you. We'll see you
Thank
soon.
you. Thank you.
You've been listening to The High Vibe Show, Living the High Vibe Life. I'm your host, Elisa V, the Queen of High Vibe. Join us every first and third Monday of the month at 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 Eastern on Transformation Talk Radio. This is the place to come for you to have loads of fun, frequency upgrades now, and have great guests to hear all about raising your frequency. For more information, visit hittingtherestartbutton.com. See you next time.